Adrienne N. Breitfelder, City Clerk, you are hereby directed to call a special session of the City Council to be held on Monday, November 18th, 2024 at 5:15 p.m. in the Historic Federal Building for the purpose of conducting a work session on the Office of Community Impact and the Equitable Fine and Fee Service Program.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to a special session of the Dubuque City Council for November 18th, 2024. As a reminder to viewers and listeners, due to the nature of tonight's meeting topic, public input is not accepted. However, you may contact the City Council directly from the city's webpage at www.cityofdubuque.org/council contacts. Attendance for the session is as follows. Mayor Kavanaugh.
Here.
Council members Farber.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Resnick.
Here.
Roussel.
Here.
Sprank.
Here.
Wethel.
Here.
City Manager Van Milligan.
Here.
And City Attorney Brumwell.
Here.
Thank you. Our work session topic is Introduction to the Office of Community Impact and Review of the Equitable Fine and Fee Service Program. I will turn it over to Community Impact Director Antonio Mozan.
Thank you so much, and hello and good evening, everyone. First, I want to express my gratitude in just being here, my gratitude for the leadership of the council, and my gratitude for the leadership of our organization within the city. I come to you as a director today, but also as a black male who's grown up in our community since 2006, who's had opportunity to experience life through many different socioeconomic backgrounds that relate to the work that we get to do here within our department, within our organization. And so, again, I'm extremely grateful for this work and just having the day to share what we've been up to within the last couple of months. We've been really, really busy here. And so, just to go over what we'll be doing, I'll give a brief background of, it's right there, of our department. I'll highlight our phenomenal team members that are right here behind me. We'll go over the mission and the vision, as that is the driving force in everything that we do within our department. Then we will highlight a few team members who are the bus drivers for the programs that we have within our department, our AmeriCorps program, the work at the Multicultural Family Center, Community Outreach and Volunteerism, the Community Diversion and Prevention, and the Equitable Fine and Fee Program. We'll spend most of our time towards the end highlighting all the logistics for this program, which I am extremely excited about. When I think about the work that we do within our department, I couldn't come up with one word. It had to be two. It was passion and it was people. And I can say without a doubt, every person behind me here, including Anderson, and every person on that screen is extremely passionate about serving our community, the work that we do, and it is extremely passionate about people that we get to serve in our community. As you all know, recently I was the director of the Multicultural Family Center, and with this new department, I get to serve as the director of the department, and I am extremely honored and excited to highlight our new director, Ms. Lemetra Murdoch. I'm extremely inspired by her leadership in the facility, and I'm excited about the work that she's going to continue to do moving forward. We have Anne Marie, who is our department's administrative assistant. She also works closely with Ms. Sarah Berna with the AmeriCorps program. Anne Marie is the glue that keeps all of us together. She is the compliance, organized, deadline person, bounty hunter for all of us, keeps us all on track, and we appreciate her so much for all of her skills and talents. Again, Ms. Sarah Berna is our AmeriCorps program director. She's served in the AmeriCorps program, and she is extremely, again, I'm going to use the word passionate about the program many times throughout the day. As I mentioned, Lemetra, her energy, if anyone knows Lemetra, you know her energy is contagious. She loves people, and she wants to see people become the best versions of themselves, and that's the foundation of the nonprofit organization, the Multicultural Family Center. We have Brittany Hayes, our community service outreach coordinator. Volunteerism and civic engagement is in her bones. We would have team meetings and she would just say, hey everyone, let's volunteer to put the chairs up, and it's just in her DNA. She loves just serving and the goodness that comes out of volunteerism. And then lastly, we have Miranda, who is our community diversion and prevention coordinator, and her, along with Brittany, have been the champions to drive the work of the Equitable Fines and Fees program. But this is our team, extremely dynamic and diverse, and again, we all we are connected through the two words of a passion and people. And so let's talk about our mission. You know, when we first got here to become a new department, I had to ask the question, what all connects us? How are we all tied together in contributing to the common good of our community? And so we dove into several conversations and work sessions within our department, and this is what we came up with. Our mission is to foster an inclusive, equitable, and engaged community where all individuals and families, especially those from underrepresented backgrounds, can thrive. We address barriers within our community through programs, partnerships, and opportunities that enhance access to resources, improve the quality of life for residents, and contribute to a positive, thriving community. We love to see the best versions of people come alive in our community. We love to identify the barriers that are in the way of our community members experiencing a quality of life, and we love to become very innovative through our programs and partnerships to address those barriers so that people can live the best versions of themselves here in our Dubuque community. Our vision as a department is we envision a community where everyone has the resources and support they need to thrive. A community where service is the foundation of our collective impact, diversity is celebrated, equity is ingrained in every working system, and residents are engaged and empowered to contribute to the betterment of our society. What I love mostly about our department is it is not a cookie cutter method when you're talking about people, right? We love to individualize everyone's experiences because everyone's barriers are very different. And through the resources that we have through the Multicultural Family Center, the power of a nonprofit organization, and a diverse board of directors with those resources, the resources of expanding capacity within our AmeriCorps program, the resources of getting people excited and educated about volunteering and contributing to their neighborhoods, we're able to execute this mission in very innovative and creative ways. And so we have been extremely busy within the last couple of months, and up next we are going to dive into each of our team members to just briefly highlight a little bit of the work that they've been doing within our different divisions, and then we will transition to our Equitable Fines and Fees program. Again, thank you so much for the continued decisions of us leaning to a community where we truly value ideas related to equity, diversity, and inclusion. We appreciate you and enjoy the rest of the presentation. Thank you. Up next, Ms. Sarah Berna.
Thank you. I wonder if he was going to throw it to me or if I was just going to come up and ad lib. So thank you, everyone, for your time tonight. As Antonio mentioned, the words people and passion and thrive. I'm gonna throw those back at you often in my brief look at what the AmeriCorps program has done and where we're headed, and highlight the now, right? So my name is Sarah. I'm the AmeriCorps program director. And how do I describe my job without describing my job? So direct your attention to the pictures. Smile coordinator. Sometimes HR for our members and our young people who are in the program. Promoter of service. These young youth are serving in the community. These AmeriCorps members are serving their youth in the community. And an alumni, as Antonio mentioned. I could not do any of this, which is the paperwork, the red tape, the HR, all the things to make this program continue to move for our members and for our youth without Anne Marie. Anne Marie is our admin, as Antonio mentioned, and she's bright. She's detail-oriented, like he said, right? She's gonna push us on those deadlines, and that's ever so important in the grant world, and been very evident that she cares, right? Also an AmeriCorps alumni. So let me talk a little bit about the AmeriCorps program, okay? AmeriCorps members are serving at the intersection of education and health in our program. Their service is to expand capacity. So when we talk about how we're doing that, we kind of have two tracks. We operate in the K-5 world, and we operate with a teen world. And our service, the role, the boots on the ground that these members are doing are empowering youth. They're looking to promote healthy lifestyles. They're doing this on the day-to-day, which those healthy lifestyles can result in decreased at-risk behaviors. They're creating meaningful, healthy relationships. And most importantly, those members are a service, a safe space as a mentor for people to feel like they belong, include them, and feel included, and that they're safe, a safe space for our youth. At the center of what we do is always data-oriented. We want to be data-driven, and we want to use that to design our program, because as Antonio mentioned, it's going to be different for everybody. So that need can change. So that data-driven component, it influences our program design, and it influences what we measure in growth for our youth. So the next slide is a little bit of that nerdy data component, but I want to tell the story behind that data. So there's a bunch of numbers. Wow, we're serving 328 teens last year, 202 K through 5 students, 25 new mentor and mentee matches at Hillcrest, 75 recruited volunteers that are serving their community. 39 of our summer teens completed their empowerment program, and 85% of them improved in a social emotional skill. You can see in the photos faces of the people who are serving, faces of the kids who are a part of our programs, but I'd like to direct your attention to the drawing. I received this drawing this year when I visited a host site at a Dubuque community school, and this kid didn't know me. He was a 5th grader. He had met with AmeriCorps members his 4th grade year, and he drew me Brock. Brock is our former AmeriCorps member, and he told me that Brock was the best teacher he's ever had. So Brock's words are in pink there. Having fun and being genuine when working with K through 5. Showing up goes a long way. We showed up. We are service-oriented, community impact. You showed up. You are service-oriented. These members are doing that boots on the ground. Many students just need a positive role model. These are all Brock's words in the pink. The teachers appreciated that, right? And that translated to their interpersonal skills in the classroom and their attention to details and focus on the academics and their ability to grow, right? And then the second one, I kind of want to highlight the humor in this. Sometimes 2nd grade through 5th grade can be a little bit easier to work with than herding kindergarten and 1st grade cats. But they're out there. They're doing K through 5 social emotional learning, and then I'm going to highlight a little more about the teen program. But I get to save that for Lemetra at the Multicultural Family Center, one of our host sites. The impact of our program is seen throughout the city. So we have teen programming at the Multicultural Family Center, teen health education at Hillcrest Family Services, municipal career exploration through city engineering, Carnegie Stout Library youth literacy, Dubuque Community Schools, like the story I just mentioned about Brock and his football jersey drawing and that best teacher this kid has ever met. But you can see that in these photos, we're serving youth in the schools to build healthy behaviors, relationship skills. You can see in the photos there's career development going on with the teens and what that future looks like for them. And I want to focus a second on that bottom picture. Most importantly, we're getting positive interactions with adults and teens. That's how we practice and strengthen social emotional skills. Lastly, the future. We're always looking for new host sites. You all in your seats, the community members, anybody watching, we are the people who are going to be putting people in those positions and recruiting for new host sites and new members to serve in our community. So I'm doing a plug. Anybody that wants to serve in our AmeriCorps program just needs to get a hold of me somehow, and I will work with them. Our future, we've got a new grant application in for social emotional learning. Nothing's changed. We're just putting more cool people and good people behind it, and it's all centered around social emotional and growth in our community. That being said, I want to toss the ball to Lemetra, who is an example, our Multicultural Family Center, of teen programming and AmeriCorps members serving in that capacity. So thank you for your time, and please remember, recruit for me, help me. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. How are you today? I am so excited to be here. I'm going to try my best to compose myself, okay? But my name is LaMetra Murdoch. I am the new executive director of the Multicultural Family Center. And I have had the greatest pleasure of working with a phenomenal team and a phenomenal community and bringing the skills and skill set that I have to the MFC. Got it. So before I dive into what the MFC is, I would like to share an experience that I had. I just started a month ago. I would say 2 weeks in, I had the opportunity and the honor to connect with a civic engagement project called Global Ties. They contacted us. They wanted to connect with the United States. So this is an organization that connects community leaders from all over the world. And they wanted to utilize Dubuque, Iowa as a connection for the United States. And to go even further, they wanted to utilize the MFC. They wanted to connect with our youth. They wanted to learn about diversity, equity, inclusion, and how we implement all of these structures on a day-to-day basis. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I look at the date they want to do it, and it's a day that we don't have team programming. So I'm new, right? I'm trying to figure this thing out. And I connected with my teen empowerment coordinator, Caitlin, and our AmeriCorps team members and said, hey, you know, I know that you all are doing this UD. They were going to the University of Dubuque to do a college tour with the teens that day. We weren't going to have any programming in the facility. We were going to be in the community. And I said, I know that you all have this scheduled for 8 people, but can you all pull it together? We can pull it up to about 30 people. And they're like, oh, let's see what we could do, because this includes tour guides, lunch, and all of those things. So they are so great at what they do that they made it happen. So on November 1st, our visitors came from all over Africa. And I'm talking about from 11 different countries. We're talking about Tanzania, Morocco, Niger, Liberia, Burkina Faso, the Congo, Ghana, Mali, Rwanda, Senegal, Tunisia. Yes, they all came to the MFC. And I will tell you this, when they walked through the doors, so let me add this, they had 3 interpreters because a lot of them didn't speak English. So when they walked through the door, we're all excited to welcome them, but they looked amongst our walls, banners of flags that went around the whole MFC, and they saw their country represented. And they were so excited, like, oh my God, I see my home here in the MFC. This is what the interpreter told me, they said. And I'm just like, yes, that's what we're about. We're about belonging, diversity, equity, inclusion, and anybody to walk through those doors feel like that they are home or they can see their home in the MFC. And so I was really excited that we were able to do that. So as you can see in some of our pictures down at the bottom, that's us canvassing the tour, touring the canvas, I should say, at UD with our visitors. They were super excited to learn about the University of Dubuque along with our youth. And then if you could see above that picture is us having lunch with those leaders. And engaging with the youth, asking questions about their future plans, and the kids asking them questions about their country. It was just a great experience and a great time. So when we got back to the MFC, we were planning to do a question and answer session, you know. And when we arrived to the facility, we had some community members, a dance team. They were practicing in one of our rooms. And our visitors was like, oh, yeah. And so I'm like, yeah, we're in this room, room 2. We're going to come in here. And I'm just hoping the music isn't going to be distracting. No, the music was engaging. So they're like, yeah, we want to know what's going on over there. Like, yeah, hey, I have a question. I'm thinking it's about programming. They want to know what's going on next door. So me, utilizing my new role, went next door. I was like, hey, to the coach, like, do you mind putting on a showcase for our visitors? And they're like, yeah, let's do this. So the kids were super excited. I'm like, yeah, these are like leaders from all over Africa. I mean, seriously, like from 11 different countries. And the coach and the kids are like, yay. So they're getting together. So I go back over to room 2, and we're doing our question and answer about diversity, equity, inclusion, which was really great. And I was like, okay, so before you guys leave, I have a gift for you. So when we go out into the main space of the MFC, All of the kids are just they're in place. They're ready. They're in position. They got their pose on. They're ready. They got the music going. And that's what that picture is at the top. You see them performing for our visitors. They were super excited, super engaged. They were taking video and pictures of the performance and everything for the kids. And they even took up a donation for the dance team. So I thought that was pretty awesome as well. So yeah, as you can see, this other picture towards the bottom is us just kind of mingling afterwards and everything. But as we were mingling, one of the leaders from Niger came to me and he said, I could dance too. And I said, oh, okay. He's like, no, for real, I can dance. You want me to show you? I said, oh, do I need to get the attention of the room again? We got another performance coming. And he was like, yeah. So that's what I want to share with you all today. So we got the people to sit back down, and we gave him the floor, and I want to share a little bit of what he did for us. He shared a little Michael Jackson moves with us. Here we go. Hey. You hear the kids? I don't care how many times I watch that. That still gets me pumped, like, because he went out there and he did that. So I just wanted to share that, just share a little energy that we have over at the MFC. It's like this every day, just in different facets of serving the community. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of that. Oh, sorry. Get this now. Okay. So, the Multicultural Family Center, what is it? It is a community center that empowers all families and community members of Dubuque to reach their full potential and build unity through diversity, equity, and inclusion, and belonging. I do want to add that, ... and belonging. We want everyone to feel like they belong. Not just feel like it, but know it. And we do that through 4 different pillars, which are adult programs, youth programs, cultural events and celebrations, and family programs and events and activities. Okay. And I also want to share with you guys before I leave some upcoming ways that the MFC is serving the community. So we have our 10th annual turkey giveaway where we partner with the NAACP. We're going to give away free turkeys to families and individuals that come to the MFC on this day and these times. And it's only while supplies last, but we have a lot of turkeys to give away. And then we have Toys for Tots coming up. So families are required to register, but this is an opportunity for families that may be struggling a little bit, right? We all out here lifing, and we want to make sure that every kid in Dubuque have a good Christmas, have something to open on Christmas morning. So we are hosting the Toys for Tots event at the MFC as well. And then in the midst of our Christmas celebration, we are also hosting an expungement and employment barrier clinic where we partner with Iowa Legal Aid. And this gives adults the opportunity to come to the MFC, and I have already sanctioned out 5 different private areas away from Toys for Tots where they can meet with legal professionals about expungement and removing barriers that may be getting in the way of them getting employment. And then we have, on December the 14th, we have our Feliz Navidades and Familia. I am learning, bear with me, but it is a community Christmas party here in Dubuque where we service a lot of our families. We have a huge party where we give gifts, food, fun, games, and it's all free. Let me note that every event that we have at the MFC is free. We are a nonprofit, so we make sure that our community members can come to the MFC and enjoy all that we have to offer for free. We're removing all those barriers and all of those obstacles that can come in the way of them enjoying these events. And another opportunity that we offer with these events is the opportunity to volunteer. We offer a lot of different ways that people can serve the community that they live in. We promote these on our social media platforms as well as conversations. And with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Brittany. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Brittany Hayes, and I am the Community Service and Outreach Coordinator in the Office of Community Impact. I'm going to try really hard to follow the energy of Lemaitre, which I don't really have, but I'm very excited about what I get to do. All right, so in our department and in much of the Dubuque community, we believe that service is vital when creating a strong, connected, and thriving community. And in my position, I have the privilege of engaging with members of our community and finding ways to collaborate and connect folks with service and volunteer opportunities. I build relationships with nonprofit organizations like the Multicultural Family Center to better understand their volunteer needs, and I build partnerships with businesses, schools, and service groups like our AmeriCorps program to identify and create opportunities where we can bring our community together and make a positive difference, especially for folks in marginalized communities. I specifically focus on engaging with marginalized communities because they're experts in their experience, and they can help us identify better solutions to the issues that they face. But we also want those folks engaged in our service opportunities around the community. We want our residents to feel like they're valued and they have a place here in Dubuque and like they have purpose. And when we can provide opportunities for them to get involved and feel connected and make a difference, we can foster that sense of belonging here. And one of the things that I love about service is that there are so many ways that it can be done, and it looks different for every person. And so we are creating surveys, and we'll be doing some community engagements so we can ask folks why they volunteer, and if so, why? What is their motivation behind that? We also want to know if they don't volunteer and why. Because what we can do is we can take that information back to our organizations and our partnerships so that we can break down those barriers and make sure that our opportunities are equitable, accessible, and inclusive. Another thing that I love about volunteering and service is that there are actual benefits to our individual health and well-being when people engage in volunteerism. Volunteering and community engagement can provide opportunities to build social connections, which can decrease feelings of loneliness and social isolation. These connections can expand networks, both personal and professional, which can lead to other service opportunities or job prospects. And volunteering can help decrease stress levels and symptoms of depression and anxiety. And it can be a great way to build skills and help people to explore their interests and find things that they're passionate about, which can foster feelings of meaning and purpose. So with all of these benefits, plus the impact that volunteerism and service has on the community, this can help us build a really strong and resilient Dubuque, and we're really trying to do that. Okay, so I work on many different projects, but there's one that I want to tell you about that I'm really excited about. But before I tell you about it, I want you to take a moment and envision a program that's offered by the city that can allow our residents to take ownership and accountability for their community, and can also be an opportunity for those folks to take pride in the service that they are contributing to their community. And this is what we envision for the Adopt-A-Spot program that I've been working on. So if you're not familiar, Adopt-A-Spot is a program that allows community members to adopt an area of city property, and they agree to clean litter in that area for 1 year or more, as long as they're interested. And I've been collaborating with many different departments in the city to develop a process for this program that's streamlined and efficient, because we want to make sure that it works for both our city departments and also our community members. So I worked with our Parks Division, Public Works Department, and the Engineering Department, and they were able to identify some areas of city property that could be available for adoption. We then collaborated with our GIS division, the Geographic Information System Office, and they helped us create this amazing map that you see at the top of the screen there. And this map will easily show areas that are available for adoption and areas that have already been adopted so that people know what's available to them, and it's an easy way for them to select a spot and apply to adopt that. And then I also want to shout out our public information office who helped us create the logos and the other branding information that's going to be really helpful when we're trying to promote this program. So we'll be utilizing the ArcGIS system that we have available to us here at the city. And because this system is so awesome, we'll have the ability to easily collect data about who is participating in the Adopt a Spot program and information like how many bags of trash are collected, so that we can really see how successful this program is in our community. And then when all of that information is collected, it's going to be put into this awesome dashboard that you see at the bottom of the screen, and that's going to be available for all of the departments that are involved in the program so that they can see all of that information. And some of those data points are also going to be featured on a website that we're building to show about the Adopt a Spot program and the success of it. Once folks are enrolled in this program, they'll be able to request a sign that can be posted next to their adopted area that will feature their name and that will show that they are responsible for cleaning litter in that area, that they, took ownership of that spot. We're going to be strategic about engaging with community members and groups in areas of the city that especially need help with litter removal, and we are going to really encourage their participation and tell them that this gives them an opportunity to take ownership over their community and have responsibility and take pride in the service that they're contributing to and, making Dubuque look beautiful and clean and awesome. So that's one of the projects that I'm working on, and as you can see, we're doing a lot of things here to build that culture of service in Dubuque. So we can come together and build a stronger, connected, resilient community. And we're not done there. So I'm going to pass it along to Miranda so that we can tell you about another initiative that we're working on.
Hello, it's my turn. I'm Miranda Nofre. I'm the Community Diversion and Prevention Coordinator within our office. I think it's the best role out of everybody. But first off, how amazing is our department so far? It's pretty incredible, correct? So my position is really focused on diverting and preventing our residents from going into the criminal justice system, as well as if they have been in the criminal justice system, ensuring they stay out of it in the future. And so to do this, we connect with our community resources, services, community leaders, as well as law enforcement to do our best with connecting residents with those. As well as diverting and prevention goes, we're also really focused on poverty reduction within our own community. And so as Brittany just mentioned briefly, we are working viciously and proactively with the Equitable Fine and Fee Reform Initiative within the city of Dubuque. And so with that, today we'll be talking to you about the Community Impact Service Program that Brittany and I have been collaborating on the last couple of months, if not almost a year. And so the Community Impact Service Program offers individuals the chance to address municipal fines and fees through service opportunities, professional development, and personal development opportunities, and empowering our residents to expand upon their own networks while resolving those financial challenges. And so with that, you're going to hear me talking quite a bit, so just sit back and relax. So for this program, it does fit under our goal of Partnership for a Better Dubuque, building our community that is viable, livable, and equitable. And to do this, we'll be partnering with our local nonprofits, as well as private sectors and public community organizations to provide opportunities for our residents for that upward mobility and empowerment across all demographics. And again, our program is very targeted towards poverty within our community and helping those residents in need. And so for this, we are being our own advocates for our community members for our state and federal levels, also securing funding for our programming, but most importantly, if you haven't guessed, being inclusive and welcoming for all. And then also, again, partnering and listening to our community of what they need and how we can put their needs into the projects and initiatives going forward in regards to policy development and decision making. So before we get into this program and all of the logistics, I wanted to do a quick background of the Equitable Fine and Fee Reform initiative within the city of Dubuque. It is quite a mouthful, so I apologize for stumbling over my words. So back in 2021, the city of Dubuque adopted the Equitable Poverty Reduction and Prevention Plan. Within this plan, it touched base on the determinants of poverty. So what's keeping our residents in poverty? Why are they not able to succeed in that upward mobility? Within the determinants of poverty in the plan, it mentioned promising practices, and that consists of fines and fee equity relief, so creating a program that will help our residents in reducing those fines and fees, but also creating a task force within the city of Dubuque so our own people can understand what fines are being given out to our residents and how it's impacting their lives. So in 2022, we created the Equity Fine and Fee Reform Committee. And this consisted of different department employees, from legal to equity and human rights to utility billing, and so many more. The entire city was in on it, trying to figure out how can we better our systems. And so with this committee, they conducted a fine and fee study, and they found that the three most highest revenues from fines and fees was for utility billing, animal control, and ambulance fees. And with utility billing and animal control, it does apply to late fines and fees. So if our residents are not paying their water, they're getting a fine on that. If they're not keeping up with their animal registration, late fines and fees are applied. And so with this, the committee applied for the cities and counties for Fine and Fee Justice Grant in hopes that it would give us more momentum to move forward with this initiative and really put our practice into work. Unfortunately, during this time, we did not receive that grant. However, we will be applying for it in the future. So don't worry, we're gonna get there. And because we didn't receive the grant, the committee itself kind of stalled out a bit and dismantled. And we had some employees either move out of the city of Dubuque or transition into different departments, and so it stalled a bit. In 2023, the Office of Community Impact Division was created, so that was us. At that time, we were under the Leisure Services Department. And so we understood that the Equitable Fine and Fee Reform Initiative was a city priority. So we were working to understand and researching what community service programs currently exist in other city organizations, as well as how we could relate it with the Equitable Fine and Fee Reform, as to see what other city organizations are doing and see how we can apply that for the city of Dubuque to better our community for our residents. And so far, we have been researching other city organizations to see if they are doing anything like what we're trying to implement, and we have yet to find a city organization who's created a program like ours. And so I do want to know it's pretty innovative of us to be implementing. In 2024, this year has been a year of change and transition from going to a division to a whole new department. And so once Antonio Muzan stepped into his director role, we focused more on how do we get this program off the ground and moving forward and building that momentum back up. And so from there, we decided to focus on utility billing, which I will get into more in here in a little bit, but also because this department did accumulate so much revenue from their fines and fees, and then they also have the ability to shut off our residents' water, which is a necessity in order for you to cook, to clean, to brush your teeth, to bathe yourself. And then we also wanted to create this system that is very data-driven and outcome-focused. And so with that, we did have to collect some data. And then from there, we've pretty started much putting all of the pieces together and creating this community impact service program. And then in 2025, we will be launching it. So this next slide shows you kind of the negative snowball effect fines go in regards to utility billing. And so when our residents are paying their bills on time, we love that. It's great. They're keeping up. They're in a good standing in regards to utility billing. However, once an account is 1 day past due, a 5% penalty is then applied to their account. And so as they continue not to pay their bill, that one-time fine increases along with that amount. After 31 days and their account is $125 past due, it is now considered a delinquent account, and this meets the criteria for the utility billing department to issue a disconnect notice, letting the residents know, hey, we haven't received payment, we'll have to shut your water off if you do not proceed to, and then they will go from there. If our residents proceed not to pay their bill, their water is then shut off, and the only way to get their water turned back on is if they pay the entire fee, as well as their utility bill, plus any disconnection and connection fees on top of that, in order to get it completely turned on. Once the water is shut off, housing is notified via WebQA, so they're aware of all the housing that does not have water, and if your home does not have water, it is then uninhabitable, which is not great. If your address still stays on the uninhabitable list in housing more than 7 days, then they will issue an inspection with the resident to go out, check it out. They give them about a 24 to 48 hour notice of saying, hey, we need you to remedy this situation, whether it's them leaving the home or them paying the bill, and then from there, going on. If they proceed after those 48 hours of not remedying the situation, housing will go back out and place a condemned structure sticker on their residence. And housing can then, in their code, cite our residents for that. However, housing understands that adding fines and fees is not really beneficial for our residents, and so you won't really see housing implement that. And I do want to note, during this time, housing is working with them to get the resources and services they need in order to pay their bills, so to really help and support where that is needed. So as I mentioned, for this program, we needed to create a very data-driven program for it to be successful. This is a pilot program, and we wanted to be intentional with who we're focusing our outreach on for this program. So for this, we did collaborate with utility billing. Their data analyst, Braden, did a phenomenal job, as well as the Office of Shared Prosperity, which is Braden's department. So first, we wanted to understand how fines and fees are impacting our residents. So with this data, you'll see we have the census tract, so the area our residents are residing in, and correlated with their account balance, or their account standings. And so you see our good standing, that light green color, and then you'll see our past due accounts in that blue, and our delinquent accounts is that red. And so when we first saw this data, we kind of knew right away where our target audience was for this program in order for it to be the most impactful. And you'll see that with Census Tract 5, from how it correlates with the other census tracts, that it has the most past due and delinquent accounts. And keep in mind, delinquent accounts, they're having a disconnect notice issued, and if they don't pay it, their water is then turned off. So going forward, I do apologize if some of the graphs are a little blurry. It was the best I could do. But for past due rates, we see that they have the highest. Census Tract 5 has the highest percentage of past due rates, being 24.84%, but also the highest percentage of delinquent rates as well, with 4.2%. And so now our question was, okay, where is Census Tract 5? And so you should have a handout next to you. It is my makeshift puzzle of Census Tract 5, because Google Maps was not my friend during this. And so it goes all the way from Central up to Ackwen, around Jackson, the North End Neighborhood Trail, Pinnard Street, Elm Street, to East 24th Street, and then also around those train tracks and ending towards West 17th Street. So now that we understood Census Tract 5 does have a very high amount of past due and delinquent accounts, we wanted to understand poverty rates in regards to this to see if there is any correlation. So we did find that Census Tract 1 happens to be the highest poverty rate within the city of Dubuque, but also has the third lowest household median income. And so because we were focused on Census Tract 5, we also see that they might not be the highest poverty rate in Dubuque, but they are the second highest poverty rate in Dubuque. But then they also happen to be the lowest median household income in Dubuque, with $38,000 a year. So I know I threw a lot of data at you. And so to sum it up, we know that Census Tract 5 has the highest percentages of delinquent and past due account rates. It is an area that is high in poverty. and has the lowest household median income. So our City of Dubuque fines and fees are impacting our low income and high poverty residents the most within our community, which is why for this pilot program, our target area is Census Tract 5. However, that does not mean if we have a resident from Census Tract 1 who may have a delinquent account, they're not allowed to apply for this program. They're more than welcome to. Our priority is Census Tract 5. But to go a little further with the demographic information of Census Tract 5, Census Tract 5 also happens to be the second highest area who our people of color or Black and brown residents reside in. And so with that, I'm going to pass the mic back to Brittany, who will go in more depth about our Community Impact Service Program. Thank you.
All right. Hello again. So after we collected the data that we had available to us and we reviewed the information that told us, the second phase of this project was to build the foundation, to really set the bones of what this program was going to look like. The Community Impact Service Program will allow City of Dubuque residents to reduce their delinquent fines and fees from the city by participating in community service and personal and professional development opportunities. In this program, we are going to be engaging with residents who are experiencing those financial hardships and also have delinquent fines and fees from the city. And as Miranda said, we are starting with a pilot program so we can test this out and then we can, make it better as we go. For this pilot program, we are focusing on utility billing accounts, but we hope to grow this program into other areas. We understand that there are many reasons that the primary account holder will have difficulty completing all service requirements that are expected out of this program. So we're really interested in engaging the entire household and finding opportunities to connect others in the household and give them those service opportunities and those opportunities for personal and professional development. Once folks are enrolled in this program, we're going to connect them with those service opportunities and not only community service, but personal and professional development. And we'll talk a little bit more about what those opportunities will look like in a few moments, but we're going to be utilizing the Volunteer DBQ platform. Volunteer DBQ is a website that the City of Dubuque partners with United Way to provide, and this website does allow us to post opportunities that are available. It allows our participants to select the opportunities that they're interested in, and it allows us to collect data like tracking hours that are completed. We wanted to be really intentional about how we value what a community service hour is, because truly it's so difficult to measure what community service is valued at. So we did some research and we found an organization called Independent Sector. This is a national organization that conducts research with the goal of strengthening nonprofit organizations and civil society as a whole. Independent Sector conducts research every year, and they determine the value of a volunteer hour both nationally and for each state individually. And based on their research, they found that a volunteer hour is valued at $28.88 in the state of Iowa. And because that is based in their research, we are utilizing that as our community service hour. We are starting with a budget of $9,000 for this initial pilot period, and as participants complete their service hours every week, we are going to be making payments directly toward their delinquent accounts, and again, during this pilot, directly towards those utility billing accounts. We want to show that we value the time that residents are putting into this program and the service that they're completing, and we want them to be motivated by seeing their account balance go down as they're completing that service. While participants are enrolled in this program, we want to set them up for success as best we can. So we're going to look into other financial assistance programs that are available through the city and enroll them in those programs. And we're using some similar eligibility requirements. So if they're eligible for our program, it is likely that they're going to be eligible for those other financial assistance programs. So we're going to get them enrolled in them. To help them out. So this program is so important for our community because we want to create a culture in Dubuque where service is valued and where our community can come together to make a positive difference, both for the community and also for themselves. This program gives us an opportunity to build that culture while giving, the culture of giving back while we get to give back to our community members as well. We also, as Miranda mentioned, we want to make sure that people have access to water. Water is an essential need and is so important for everyday life. And when that service gets discontinued, it really sends people down a negative spiral, and that can have lasting impacts on their lives. And we want to make sure that they have that service and they don't get sent down that spiral. This program also allows us to find ways that we can invest in our community members so that they leave this program in a better position than they started. And we want to provide opportunities for them to gain skills and expand their networks, which can provide a little bit of that upward mobility. When we can invest in our community members and make them feel like they have value here in the Dubuque community, they will likely want to get involved more and they will want to give back to us as well. We are launching this program on January 1st because the sooner we can have it available, the better. And we want to carry on that giving spirit during the holidays and transition that into the new year and really lean into the mindset of new year, new me, and give our residents the opportunity to make this positive change in their lives in the new year, and also that can, create positive change in our community as well. And so Miranda's going to talk a little bit more.
I'm back. Did you miss me? So how are we going to provide our program outreach for our community? So we know Census Tract 5 is our priority target for this program, so we're going to go where our residents are. We're not going to expect them to come meet us. We're going to go to our residents. And so that will look like door-to-door canvassing, and you should all have a sample application flyer. And so it is a flyer that doubles as an application. So while we're out in the community, we can give our residents this information, and if they're eligible for it, they can easily apply. And then our second way is we do have connections with the utility billing, and they have the information for those in delinquent accounts. And so we have their addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses for us to specifically reach out to residents who will benefit from this program to ensure that they're getting the help and support that they need. And then also we're going to be leveraging our social media platforms, as we have our own Office of Community Impact Facebook page, we have the Volunteer DBQ Facebook page, we have the MFC Facebook page, and then we'll also be working with the City of Dubuque Facebook page to post it as well to get more eyes on this program. And then again, just going back to the neighborhoods and really going to our residents and meeting them where they're at. Whether we're at resource fairs, we'll have our program out saying, hey, if you know anyone who could benefit from this program, please let them know so we can do our best to connect them to those services. And then you do have another handout. It is pink and colorful. It is our Community Impact Service Program workflow, so it kind of walks you from the start to end of what this program will look like. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go as in-depth, but if you do have questions, please let us know. And then I will now bounce it back to Brittany.
All right, so as far as the opportunities that are going to be available through this program, we wanted to have a variety of options available because we know that we're going to be working with different schedules, skills, abilities, and things like that. So we want to have many different options that folks can participate in. We also wanted to think outside the box, and we wanted to find ways to invest in our community members individually so that we can make them better, we can make their family better, we can make our community better. So we're looking into the city of Dubuque internally. We are meeting with our departments to explore the projects that they're working on and see if there are any ways that we can incorporate community members into the projects that we're working on here in the city and really connect them to the work that we do here. We have plans to organize opportunities for litter cleanup and tree plantings through our Branching Out Dubuque initiative. And then another thing that we want to have available for this program is the opportunity for our participants to engage in community feedback and public input. We know that a lot of our departments require that public input and that feedback from our community so that they can implement those programs or projects, and we can do our jobs to the best of our ability. And so we want to provide opportunities for our departments to engage with people that they may not engage with otherwise. It is a possibility that people that enroll in our program have never participated in that public input and probably never would. And so this is an opportunity for us to give them a voice and show them that we really value what they have to say and how we can provide, make the community better. So we're looking internal to the city departments. We are also going to have opportunities within the larger community. So this could be participating in the Days of Caring event that happens in April, or connecting them with neighborhood associations or opportunities with local nonprofits. But again, we also wanted to think outside the box and find other opportunities that could be available as well. And so we are going to provide opportunities for personal and professional development. We're going to be really intentional about finding ways that we can invest in our community members so that they can build skills and gain knowledge, which can help them after they leave this program. And again, when we can invest in our individual members of our community, that has an impact on our community as a whole. And so we are going to be working with some community partners to provide, financial literacy programs to help them build some workforce skills, like building their resume or doing mock interviews, things like that. Really any way that we can help them build those skills and again, set them up for success after they leave our program. And I think that that's all I have, so I'll pass it back to Miranda.
Hello, I'm back. So how will we know our program is successful? Well, first, our participants will complete all of their service hours and really reduce that utility bill back to zero, the one that they came into us with. We will also make sure our participants are set up with a discounted utility billing program, as well as payment plans and any additional city financial assistance programs that we can get them connected with, as well as increase their personal empowerment. Again, as Brittany mentioned, we want to ensure that our participants feel more prepared and set up for success in order for them to thrive within our community. And then we also want to increase our residents' financial literacy, whether it's having a better understanding of a budget so that they can get their bills paid while also providing for their family, or whether it's simply just organizing their bills so they know where they can find their water bill, because we have heard it gets lost in the mail sometimes. And we also, again, our focus is creating a culture in our neighborhoods where service is valued and really increasing that family community engagement but not just in the home, but in the community. And then also decreasing the delinquent account rates within Census Tract 5. Again, we want to ensure our residents have access to water, as it is an essential need. And then lastly, we want to decrease the economic payoff, as utility billing does have to send money to collections for those accounts that are not being paid for. Last year, they spent around $211,000 plus. And so with this program, it will help decrease that. So it's a great idea. Now I'll pass it to Antonio.
And so you all can imagine our leadership team meetings with all of this passion and energy, right? Definitely a phenomenal group to work with. A few things that I just want to emphasize. You know, the disparities that we mentioned here today, this is not a disparity that the city of Dubuque only deals with. These are national disparities, and I'm really grateful that our community and our city acknowledges these disparities and are intentional about providing opportunities to address them. So the question poses of where do we go from here? This was the first 4 months of us kind of, you know, getting this department together and being very intentional about how we continue to collaborate with one another, but also with people within our organization. And so next, through the idea and the spirit of collaboration, we want to work with legal department and work to address the current ordinance as it relates to water, fines and fees and water shutoff, and try to address it in a more equitable way to where people are actively engaged in participating and serving our community and addressing their fines and fees. They can possibly have their water stay on. We want to increase our community engagement. You know, our department is the Office of Community Impact, and so we do not fall in the expectation of expecting community members to come to us, although people come to the MFC quite a bit. That's not our expectation. Our expectation is to go into these neighborhoods, knock on doors, build relationships, have them see all the phenomenal energy that we have within our department so that we can continue to build trust between our organization and the community members that we serve, and also to help increase access and education for our community members. We also plan to expand into city departments. Right now, we're focusing on our water bills, but we'd like to expand in how we can address other fines and fees within our community that serve as barriers as well. We'd also like to expand the partners that we are working with within our community with different departments, opportunities in leisure services and other departments where people can really just connect with community leaders, learn about our organization, but also contribute to the common good of our community. We'd also are going to look to form committees that can be very intentional about wraparound services within our community. Currently, we have a bunch of phenomenal services in our organization, but a lot of times we don't know if people are communicating with one another to say, hey, you also qualify for X, Y, and Z, to really maximize you know, how they can participate in these services. And so we want one committee of frontline workers who can really collaborate with one another from different departments and explain how they're currently working with individuals and families and how they can continue to work with you know, other individuals and families to maximize their efforts. We also want to get a committee together, this is a heads up, with our department managers, just people who can dive into collaboration more on a system level so we can talk about policy and practices to make you know, the system more equitable for all people. And then lastly, as we continue to transition, we want to start building connections within our criminal justice system and being very intentional about deferring people from going into the criminal justice system. We know once they get in front of that judge, options can become limited, and so we want to be very intentional, identifying you know, the tracks that get people there and try to create opportunities, programs to where people can get involved and to divert in the criminal justice system. Again, I am so grateful for the people that I get to serve with in this room, so grateful for your leadership, and thank you for the opportunity of you know, hearing us in this work session. Thank you. So we have room for questions.
All right. Well, Antonio, Sarah, Lemetra, Brittany, I wrote you down in order, Miranda, and Anne Marie. I want to make sure I had everybody there. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for the energy. Anne Marie, I know we didn't hear from you, but I understand you're the most important. So thank you. I wanted to make sure I put you on the list. So thank you. No, it's okay. It's all right, Antonio. Yeah, thank you, though. Thank you. So we have about just under 10 minutes. I am just going to imagine from the breadth of this presentation, we have a number of questions for you. I would encourage us to share those questions with Mike and then or the city manager, and then make sure that we get those questions to you too. A couple things though, I think one big question in my mind that I think would be helpful to know is, you mentioned the timeline in your most recent slide there, but as far as a timeline for coming before us and talking about this publicly again, what's in your mind for that? And I don't know if I caught the timeline for the pilot itself. I mean, what we're looking at here, are we talking before the budget hearings? Is that going to be another update opportunity? Are we talking about a year? Remind me what we're talking about for that.
So we'd like to provide an update during the budget hearing. I think it's a good time.
Okay.
Because we would have implemented the program, we would have got things kicked off, and we can provide some insight on how things are going.
Okay. So sometime within the next 5 to 6 months, generally, is what we're kind of looking
Correct.
at to be able to have. But you're going to implement this January 1st.
Correct.
So it'll have about 3 months worth of time of actually working and going,
Yep.
and that kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's helpful to know, because I know that that's one of the biggest questions that I'm going to get publicly is just, when are we talking about this again? When are we going to learn more? How are we going to know how this is working and that kind of thing? What you've described to us is very well thought out, I think, but it's also, it's pretty expansive. There's a lot of detail involved, and it's obviously brand new. So I think that those things, when you combine those things together, it often leads to lots of questions in people's minds about how we're doing things. And I think it'll be really helpful for us to be able to talk about that a little bit more. Before I open it up here to other council members, what if people don't do this? Did we talk about that? I mean, what if people don't choose to do the service component of this and they still have the fines? Is that a part of what we're still discussing, or what happens in that situation?
So there is opportunities for professional development opportunities, educational, self-help opportunities. Again, we have a nonprofit in our organization, and we partner with community members all the time. And so we're looking to strengthen partners to provide opportunities to where people can identify their barrier, and we can collaborate with partners to facilitate educational sessions for their time as well. So if they are unable to, let's say, physically serve, they are engaged in an activity to where they are addressing their barriers, pouring into themselves so that they can engage in upward mobility.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was one of the biggest questions in my mind was, because barriers look very different depending on the person in their life and all the different reasons why something's not getting paid or something's not happening. And sometimes those barriers can be so crushing that it is hard to help to move past that. So I was also very much appreciated hearing that you're creating partnerships with other nonprofits to be able to assist with that. I don't think there's any city department that exists, even your amazing new city department, that's going to be able to deal with all those barriers in a person's life without the assistance of some other organizations that might be able to work with folks a little bit more.
Yep.
So we'll do the best we can here. I hesitate because I know we all are going to have things. Yeah, Ms. Roussel.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. It was really exciting to see the enthusiasm from every single person that came up to the podium. So kudos to all of you. One of the things I've done in my career was utility credit collections, and I know I've seen the downward spiral that it creates for unpaid bills for families. So one of my questions was, is there a limit on this program? So if I have an unpaid bill and I get it taken care of, can I come back if it happens again, or how will that work?
Hi, I'm back. Absolutely. So we have decided that this program will be available once a year per their fine area. So because we are hoping to expand for utility billing, parking tickets, animal control, they can apply to each for once a year. So they can do utility billing once, and then they have animal control, they can do that once. And then it'll renew for the next year.
Also to add on to that, we are very intentional with not having this program be abused. We really want to see people move up. And so the second time, if they are in delinquency again, that second time, we want to encourage them to engage in a professional or personal development resource, if you will. So we understand that maybe service wasn't the option to help get them back on track. And so we want to make sure that that second time around, if they do come back, that they are being very intentional about the personal need for that family or for that individual.
It sounds like a great plan, and I'm looking forward to seeing how how it works out.
Thank you. Ms. Bethel, go ahead.
I really appreciate the focus on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We need water, and we cannot survive without it. And for families that struggle, boy, it's a priority. So I appreciate you're starting with one item. I appreciate that you're targeting the people who need it the most. I'm interested to know, and if I missed this, I apologize, specifically, are you going to call those people? Are you going to physically knock on their door? Exactly how are we going to reach those people?
That's a great question. So we already were driving down neighborhoods. I started to get a little cold. So we were planning on, the idea was to have a block party and to bring people in and a resource booth block party, if you will. But just with the timing, we weren't able to do that this year. But we do plan on going to the neighborhoods, knocking on the doors. We have access to who's impacted by fines and fees. And so we can make phone calls, send emails. But if we aren't connected to residents, then we do have the opportunity to go to their homes and visit them and meet them and do home visits as well.
Well, my thought is if they're not able to pay their utility bill, they might not be able to be accessed by telephone.
Right.
So that one-on-one connection,
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm going to understand it better if somebody knocks on my door and tells me about it. And so that's
with
great.
With the flyer, with the QR codes, with the person to help, walk them through how to get connected and where to go. And again, we believe in that relationship building, right? That one-on-one connection. Meeting people helps because people could have, an image of a program or a partnership. And if they can meet the smiling faces within our team and within our organization, the trust can be built and they're more likely to engage in the program.
And I would assume as you do that outreach, you're going to know what works and what doesn't. And so dialing it into such a specific utility and such a specific group of individuals, my hope is that we can expand the program as time goes. But I really appreciate that we're going to be able to pull data on what works, who uses it, and what's the long-term success.
Yep.
So thank you.
And the plan behind that was because many different fines and fees, they have their own systems. Yeah. And so we wanted to do this pilot with knowing how one system internally works so that we can work out a lot of the kinks, and then we can then create a systemic structure to duplicate how we did this one, so it can be more broad.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Well, we're at 6:27, so I'm gonna wrap us up. Expect some questions from us, I think, in the meantime. You'll get them in writing, but I think that'll be good. And we'll continue to reach out to you and encourage residents to do that with questions that we might have about this. But you also talked about many other things. So before I wrap up, I want to just mention some of the words that you used because I caught them and I wrote them down. Belonging was one that you threw out there. Connection. Making Dubuque home, which I thought was a really good one. Pride in our community, ownership in the community. The word community came up a lot. Resilience, you talked about that too, and building resilience. I used to, when I lived in other places, because I grew up here, but I lived in other places, and I became fond of calling Dubuque home with a capital H, because you had a home, but home was really here, and that's the way I felt. And I think when I hear you talk about those things, the goal in my head is I hope other people feel that way too. When they've lived here and they've moved here and they decided that this is going to be the place that they want to call home, that a department like yours and the work that you're doing in conjunction with all the other departments and all the other organizations that we partner with will help people to feel that sense of home here in Dubuque. I think there's only good that can come from that. So thank you very much for giving us an introduction to this department and the work that you're doing, and we really appreciate it, and we look forward to hearing much more.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. All right, there being no further business in the work session, we'll be adjourned until 6:30.